to explain that dichotomy between the political leader and the revolutionary leader that Mr. Tchiroma has become. And I can tell you, it's only in the last few days that he has readjusted that in his mind to understand that he's no longer this politician who sought the highest office in the land. That will come. But between now and then, he has to lead a revolution. So he's become the head of a resistance movement. And it takes for a different mindset, it takes for a different posture, and a new set of policies. So Mr. Tchiroma and his team are working night and day now to develop the appropriate policies that will be used to lead the revolution that must take place. But at the base of all the action that will be taken in the coming days is the Cameroonian people who demand change. The change is not about Mr. Tchiroma. The change is about Cameroon. If the people want change, they will have to stand up and be counted. They cannot fall back, and say, well, we're used to this, to the pain and the suffering, and we'll continue. No.
Ghana comments so far. I think let's hit those comments as we go.
I would say these people, particularly Issa Tchiroma, I've made the statement in several forums. He owes the Amazonia people change, because this is their language. This is the language of the Amazonia people. Okay, I just want to reiterate a few words that he said. Revolution. I think we just talked about a revolution and the revolutionaries. These are people who have no goal in sight. They need continuous chaos, continuous disorder, continuous dispute to be able to thrive. Did you also hear what he said? He said resistance. Okay, resisting what exactly? Resisting what? That's what he has to be able to answer. And then more importantly, he said a new set of policies. If you have any reasoning faculty or you have any sense to be able to get deeper, you can slowly see where these people are pushing to chaos, to destabilization, to disorder. Of course, they're not going to say it. That's never what they won't say it out loud. But when people start using the word revolution, resistance, and then to change, and then he did mention the fact that Issa Tchiroma has to change his mindset of not an opposition leader who's claiming the election was stolen for him, but as a leader of a revolution.
Right.
Whatever that means, you have to know that these are people who want to foster death and destruction. They just come short of saying it clearly because they don't want to be held accountable for their words. But this is exactly what I mean. What resistance to what? We have a president that has been installed in the Unity Palace. It's running the government. You have people going out to do reconciliation and whatever, and they don't have to because they want, but they really don't have to. And you have the Minister of Territorial Administration going and assessing post-security violence and making sure everything's in order and making sure businesses are open, schools are open, people are going to their job site, people are going to their market and all that stuff. What exactly are you talking about the resistance and revolution here? If you're not talking about chaos, if you're not talking about stopping people from going to the market, stopping people from going to the school, stopping people from going to the job site, stopping schools, and up to the point of destruction and killing. What exactly are you talking about? Are you saying anything against? Because whatever you are saying is against what the government is trying to do. It's against what Atanganje is trying to do. Whatever you are saying is against that. You want to stop people to be able to carry out their daily lives like they used to. That's why he has to call it a revolution. That's why he has to call it a resistance. Resistance to what exactly? Resistance to the president who has been installed, the way to your own way of life, to due process. That's what they mean. Okay, and you must be blind to not say that. And when they say a new set of policies, what do they exactly mean? I think in his mind, if you ask me, he doesn't think Issa Chema is doing enough. He when he's talking about the new set of policies, he is calling for an armed revolution, and he doesn't think Issa Chema has gone enough. So in his way, he's trying to push them to that direction for Issa Chema to become clear that he is intending to create chaos, but he doesn't want to come across as saying that. But or if you just reason by elimination, this is exactly what you're saying. On the one hand, you have people who want people to go to their jobs, their work, and the school. And the other side, somebody say you should be a leader of a revolution. You should be a leader of resistance. You create new set of policies to do what? If you don't think it's stopping what is the other side is doing, then I don't think you're thinking properly. Because there's no way this guy's on the same page with Tanganji. There's no way this guy's on the same page with Paul Biya. There's no way this guy's on the same page with John Gute. If anything, they despise those people. They hate them because they want to upend your way of life. They want to promote destruction. They want to promote a revolution and a resistance. In his own words. I'm sorry, I took too long.
No, it's fine. Ghana, just to add to that, he said something about the people standing up and being counted. Isn't that him saying that
that's a cover too?
People need to stand up and protest and pick up arms and fight the government as much as they can. To me, that is what I hear, and I think that is what he's intending to say. But again, he cannot come out and say you need to pick up arms or you need to defend your vote. They've been saying this, defending your vote and standing up.
What exactly that means?
What exactly does that mean? But if you read in between the lines, from the time they started saying things like this until now, it is obvious what they're trying to say. It is obvious that the real message they're trying to pass across is that people need to stand up against the government in any way that they can, which involves violence and arms and attacks and things like that. This is exactly how the Abazina revolution started. By people making little calls like this. Hey, you need to stand up. We are revolutionaries. They
have to sell you your oppression.
Yes.
They have to sell you your suffering, sell you your being defrauded of your vote, and all that. So they have to sell you that you are suffering, and unless you don't stand up and do it, and of course they are seated in the comfort of their own zones.
Yeah, in the West,
in America, or whatever. But you have to stand up and again counted. Why is he not standing up to be counted too?
Yeah, he needs to go back to Cameroon, stand up and be counted. Another thing too, which I wanted to add is, from his comment, I see that we've been talking about Issa Tchiroma not being ready, but I think we underemphasize the level of his lack of readiness. First of all, he wasn't ready for the elections.
Right.
And so when Kamto was kicked out, his circumstances forced him to step up. Okay. When he declared himself winner, he did not have a plan. So he wasn't even ready for that move. I'm not sure what he thought. Oh, I will declare myself winner and Paul Biya is just going to step aside. There was no plan. These policies that he's developing now, are there no policies that he should have developed when he claimed that he was president?
Right.
What did he think? That the government would just move aside and say, oh, Pa Tchiroma, come and enter this your house now without putting up a fight? Right? Okay. Another point where I say he wasn't ready. You hang around in Cameroon for a few days and then you disappear. And you're in Nigeria and you're in Chad, you are somewhere in Africa, but you are nowhere. Like, didn't he plan this in advance? Hey, I will declare myself president-elect. I'm sure the government is not going to be happy. I'm sure at some point they might want to look for me. And if they look for me, this is my exit plan. With, so now he's developing policies now.
Because you cannot plan a lie. Because you don't know how a life is going to unfold.
After the fact.
After the fact. Because you have to.
Plan a lie because you're not sure how that lie. You make your plans as your lie unfolds.
Right.
And I think this is exactly what he did. He wasn't ready for any of this. He wasn't ready for any of this. And unfortunately for him, he seemed to have made friends with people who are going to push him to a direction that he might not have contemplated.
Right.
Because Eric Chinje has his own NGO, Project C, and he's been the one who's been pushing Issa Tchiroma. He knows where Issa Tchiroma is. He's met with Issa Tchiroma multiple times, and from the way he speaks, you know that he speaks as though he's been authorized by Issa Tchiroma to come out and make these statements. That is how he speaks. He's not speaking as if, okay, yeah, I met him once and this is what I think is happening. He's speaking with a lot of authority. Right? With a lot of authority. For a man who wasn't ready. If he was ready, he would have known that, hey, I need polling agents in every polling station. If he was ready, he would have known that, hey, when I declare myself president-elect, the ruling government is not just going to move aside and have me step in.
Right.
If he was ready, he should have known, hey, I need to find an exit strategy before they start looking for me. I don't have to go seek refuge here and then go seek refuge somewhere else. I need a place where I have this negotiated in advance that I would come, and that is where my refuge is going to be. Okay, these are my policies. Again, people make plans. Okay, if they have plan A, plan B, plan C based on the different angles that they are looking at. Okay, plan A is they let me into A2D, into a Unity Palace. Fine, I don't need anything for that. Plan B is that I get stuck in Cameroon and I'm not able to get out of the country. What do? You come up with a plan for that. Okay, plan C is that I run to some sort of a friendly country that might accommodate me. Okay, when I run there, how do I continue this fight? Right? Strategies are supposed to have been developed and put in place long before now. Now, Mr. Issa Tchiroma and his friends, Eric Chinje and others, are trying to develop a plan of action.
It's crazy.
3 weeks after the elections, a plan of action. 3 weeks. If it doesn't tell you that people are not ready, then I don't know what they are.
Right.
This is clearly that.
And I'm sure if you ask Eric Chinje what's the meaning of FNSA, he wouldn't be able to tell you.
He doesn't care. He doesn't need to.
He doesn't care. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move forward. Sorry.
Yeah.
If they want change, they'll have to stand up and demand it and go for it. It should not only be in their minds, it should be in their actions. That's what Mr. Tchiroma, that is.
I say, isn't it clear that the people who wanted change have given up on that change and they are deciding to do their thing? Yeah. I mean, if you can't read it, I mean, that is what it is. Yes, people wanted change. The elections came and passed. People protested here and there. And they're like, okay, now we are just going back and we're going to do whatever it is that we were doing before all this nonsense happened.
Right. Yeah.
To me, it tells you very clearly that you are going to now push people into wanting change, that a change that they're giving up on.
Yeah. I mean,
that is what they're trying to do.
People have moved on with their lives. They sad about the election, but in general, people are moved on with their lives. They're going on about their business. All this revolution, resistance stuff is just on how can I put it? It's on life support, and people like Eric Chinje and are the ones who are keeping the lifeline. They don't want to pull the plug because again, this is just a relationship for is water and oil.
It is a relationship of convenience, as they say.
Convenience, yeah.
That's what he's going to be leading in the interim before he moves on to be inaugurated as president. He'll be leading that charge of resistance, for ensuring that this regime does not survive, and it will not. So the actions are being taken. They're being developed into policy, which should begin to become evident as early as tomorrow. Today we are on Monday, the 10th of November, mark my words. As early as 11th, 12th of November, those policies will start rolling out those policies. The system in Yaoundé will not be given the break they think they can have. They cannot. For a whole variety of reasons, Chris. Think about this. If we let these guys off the hook now, and they see themselves running the country over the next 5, 6, 7 years, what do you think they will do? They'll perfect their system. That's the first thing they will do, perfecting their system, and then it'll be a government of the type of government that serves the few. It'll be that type of government for the next 50 years, or at least the next 25.
The certain thing you say
And I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit sorry.
He talks about perfecting the system. This is a system that has been in place for 43 years. They don't need 7 years to perfect the system is perfect. That is why they have won every election that has happened. That is why there's not been a coup d'etat in Cameroon. That's why there's not been a civil war in Cameroon. That's why do these people think before they talk? Like, someone has been in power for 43 years and you say they need 7 years to perfect a system. They have to perfect this system. And just like me and you said, Ghana, a few minutes ago, part of this perfection of the system is what the CBDM elites are doing on ground as we speak.
They do on the ground.
Diongute is not in the prime ministry, he's not in the office, he's out meeting people, going down to the grassroots. That is the system. Atangan Paul is up north talking to people and finding out what their problem is. He might not be able to solve those problems, but he's there talking about it. That is a system that is being perfected. So when you talk about they give them 7 years to perfect the system, I'm like, you're too late. the first 5 years or the first couple of years, that system has been perfected. They don't really need to do any much work on the system. It is 100% perfect. That's why you are up there somewhere in the United States hiding. That is why Issa Tchiroma is nowhere to be found. That's why Professor Maurice Kanto is just sitting wherever he is. He's quiet. Because the system is perfect and is working. And when I say this, people are going to say, so you are supporting the ruling party. No, I'm not supporting the party. I'm not supporting the government. I've never worked for the government. I've never been part of the CPTM. But sometimes, like people say in Pidgin, when some man pass, you carry it back.
I mean, that's always the accusation. You work for the CPDM, you want Cameroonians.
I've never worked for the government. I've never earned a dime from that government.
Like me, I've never worked for the government. I left
the country before I got my first job. Right, I worked in the private sector anyway, but I wasn't paid by the government, so I have no interest in that government.
Same for me. I've never worked for the government. I left the government. I left the country. I can only vote in one presidential election. I voted for the SDF. But what is very saddening is that we grew up listening to and looking up to people like Eric Chinje. If you hear that name, I've never met him personally, but I know the name sounds like the names that sound a lot like they come with a lot of credibility, a lot of power, a lot of savoir-faire. Then when you listen to comments like this come from a respectable person, it's very disappointing. Because it says you do not even have time to put your thoughts and think of those who are going to push back. What do you think is the pushback is going to be to your thought? Okay. Again, he repeated the statements resistant. He repeated it like 2-3 times. Okay. He called the regime and also he says the Issa Chiroma's government, they are going to be rolling out their action plan. Which actions are you talking about, sir? What exactly do you mean rolling out their action plans? And he also called the system their system. Okay. May I remind Eric Chinje that Issa Chiroma was part of that system.
Right.
Issa Chiroma supported, promoted, enabled that system that he seems to be against right now. So what system exactly are you talking about?
Did Eric Chinje not work for the government?
I think he worked with CRTV or something. He
worked with CRTV for a while before he left. So he too was part of propagating the same system that he is challenging now. But he's been gone for so long, I give him the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt that I cannot afford or accord to Issa Chiroma because he left a couple of months ago. Right? So Eric Chinje, he can say their system, their government, he can say whatever he wants to say. it makes sense because he's been out of that system, out of that government for a long time. Issa Tchiroma cannot be afforded the same
that system.
The same.
Is that Tchiroma resigned what? January, February of this year, early this year, sometime.
Yeah.
So when you talk of their system, what exactly you mean? What system are you talking about? The system that he enabled, that is such a mind enabled. So I mean, we cannot be fooled by people who appear to be smart, who appear to know how the country function, and then just listen to this garbage that is coming out from the mouth. And then the worst thing is, of course, he goes to a station where they're just going to applaud him and praise him for saying all this nonsense. Nobody's going to push back because look at Chris Annie. Do you think Chris Annie is going to push back on any of these things? He's not going to push back because they just have an echo chamber where they just listen to each other and agree with each other. That's it. You know, they as bad as they claim the government is. You know, they are just they just want to be in power. That's all. They don't seem to make any sense. They don't seem to have any common sense. They don't seem to have any policies that is going to work and improve the lives of Cameroonians. They are just out to create chaos, to create an environment where disorder, destabilization grows, and then they can have an opportunity to come as a savior. That's all. These people don't have anything to offer to the Cameroonian people. Okay, but chaos. I mean, we've seen the chaos that they have offered in the Anglophone zone. What else? Again, just to reiterate, it's very sad. People that we consider them to be smart, intelligent, to come up with such a very weak assessment that can be debunked or can be criticized by a primary one child. So it's very sad.
Right. Before the next revolution. So we can't let them get away with it. We've got to, yes.
Does Mr. Tchiroma understand the urgency with which Cameroonians want him to act?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. If he understands what?
Whether Mr. Tchiroma understands the urgency with which Cameroonians want him to act.
Ghana, you were saying something.
He got the question. He just wanted to gather his thoughts to be able to answer.
Yes. I thought the same.
You understood the question. You just need time to be able to figure out what to say. I didn't understand your question. Anyway, let's go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Chris. You know as well as I do, and I think you spoke to him. You know as well as I do that the primary thing he was concerned about was his security. He had to be concerned about that. Because when he was in Cameroon, on Cameroonian soil, they surrounded his house. He was being protected by a bunch of young men and women who were willing to sacrifice everything to protect him. He was in his house. The military surrounded that house a couple of blocks away from the human shield. And then that shield, that human shield, was declining over time for a whole variety of reasons: hunger, tiredness, poor conditions of living. But a lot of people came around. You must have heard of Project C that we were part of. They were raising money to feed those young people. That kept them there for a while, but the military kept putting the pressure, moving towards the house. And it got to a point where Mr. Tchiroma recognized the fact that if he continued to stay in that house in Garoua, he would be picked up. They would storm it. There were snipers all around the house. So he knew that he had to be exfiltrated one way or the other. And with the help of some loyal military guys, he was exfiltrated. So
Ghana, I see you laughing.
These people can lie.
They think we are idiots.
They really think we're idiots. I think we had said that what is going to happen to these people who are protecting Issa Tchiroma's house? They're on the guy at one point they need to go and ride their bikes to be able to make money to feed themselves because Issa Tchiroma is not going to give them money. Yeah, I think we did predict that. So part of my laughter was like, this is what we had said.
We said
what is going to happen? You give these people 2-3 days sitting in front of Issa Tchiroma. It's a mango because of the man. This thing may work for me. My children are calling me. They need food. They need to go to school. Their friends are going to school. I need food to eat myself. And you cannot sustain something and unplanned stuff like that by having people just come and sit in their house and protect you. So Mao just renews like, but then they have installed the president. He has received congratulating messages from different countries, from different international organizations, from the U.S. Embassy, which is like the representation of the U.S. president. He has received congratulations from those people on those kind of level, at those kind of levels. He has received all the ministers, all the constitutional council members, all the parliamentarians, all the opposition leaders. Their presence there solidifies that he won. And then they should offer some money as the claim say we. They make the poor people to think that they are just fools and they are illiterate and they cannot reason anything out of themselves. And people like Eric Chinje, who seems to be a reputable journalist, at least in the past, seem to think that those people have nothing to think for themselves. And unless they get instructions from people like them, of course, they are of the higher echelon and they can seem to read Issa Chiroma's mind and pass information. Like, people are done with this bullshit and they can read and they can see through it. They can see through all the lies, all the manipulation, all the social media, cooked up stories. And like we said earlier, the Cameroon of 2025 is not the Cameroon of 2016, where every lie flies. A lot of people are bold enough to speak out their minds and say, no, we are not going to stand for this BS. We're done. And then another thing that Eric Chinje was, just play this scenario in your mind. They make you're a president, but you're not installed in the Unity Palace. Okay, just imagine Donald Trump saying he's a president, but he was not installed in the White House, or somebody calling himself Pope, but he was not installed in the Vatican, or somebody calling himself the Fawn, but he was not installed in the palace. Okay, or somebody calling himself the mayor, but he was not installed in the city hall, and we can go on and on and that. At some point, if you're any reasonable person, somebody's going to ask the question, but Mama, you are not serious. You're absolutely not serious. And for you to continue to push this lie, this hoax, and whatever, and to make it sound as if we were on the ground, we don't have any ability to reason for ourselves, is the highest level of superiority complex it can be. So it's sad. It's really sad.
Just to add a few things to what you've brought up, Ghana. You see, he casually called human beings a human shield.
He did.
People don't understand what that means. Human shield means that he is in between a group of, or in between humans. Yeah. People, like you call them, people who can, what name you gave for those who can be sacrificed? The
disposables.
The disposable. So you gathered a bunch of people around your house so that they will kill them first before they get to you. That is somebody who calls themselves your people. You remember? Your people.
Yeah.
He gathers you around his house so that when the military shows up, you get killed first. People don't understand the implication. They didn't. He couldn't even code it like they've been coding the language. He couldn't even. Right. He came out clear and said, "You guys were the sacrificial lambs." Right. In case the military decided to come get Issa Chiroma, you guys would be the first to go. Human shield. It is not acceptable anywhere, even in war zones, for a man to use people to protect him.
Right.
Right? It is not acceptable. It's against every kind of human rights violation that you can talk about.
Right.
Right? Again.
And then look at his effort. Look at his effort to sow discord and mutiny. He said some loyal soldiers to Issa Chiroma. Wait, what? That is mutiny.
Oh.
Okay, and that's treason. Are you saying there are some soldiers who are refusing to follow the command of the commander in chief? Are you kidding me? That's mutiny. So you're taking command and orders from anywhere else. And if you're close to anybody in the military, taking command from someone who's not, and then more so, you're taking command from
The
a
civilian.
civilian.
Impossible.
Civilian.
Impossible. Impossible.
Where
It doesn't
happen
anywhere. It doesn't happen anywhere. Where
the military person take command from a civilian
and a civilian. No, it doesn't happen. But again, that is what they want us to believe.
That's what.
And they want us to believe that they are military personnel in Garua who got Issa Tchiroma out of that place. Another thing, Ghana, which I wanted to mention, just in terms of the preparedness, right? People who are prepared, who have plans, no matter how many plans, would have a little bit of money kept aside for the unforeseen. So in case like this, where you have managed to gather your human shield, as you call them, you would go to each of them and say, hey, you have a wife? Yes. Okay, you have kids? Yes. Which school do they attend? What do they need? This is, give me their Momo number. I'll send them 50,000 so they can keep going ahead while you are here as a human shield protecting me, right? Because again, like you said, Eric Chinje said, a group of people from Project C, which is we should look into what Project C is. I checked. I have a little bit of information, but that is a conversation for another day. We're contributing money to feed the people the human shield.
The human shield.
But again, it's not enough. It's not enough. Just me eating and my kids are not eating at home. I wouldn't. How long would I stay? Knowing that my kids need me, they need food, they need me to go to work, or it's the north. Probably have herds of cattle in the farm or in the bush somewhere, has sheep or goat. People need to be there to herd those animals, right? So he's not going to come and sit in front of your house for months to protect you. So again, just telling you, when they say people are ready for something, Issa Tchiroma was completely, this thing caught him by surprise. He wasn't prepared for anything. He has no money even to feed the people who are protecting him, like he said. Not people have to come from outside. An outside group have to contribute money to feed those who are protecting you. It tells me, it tells me a lot about this so-called movement and where they are heading.
Yeah.
It's for me.
Even if you had money, you want to feed people, fatten them up so that they can be fat human shields to protect you. Like does that even sound right? Like, I don't know. It just sounds funny.
The next thing was for him to stay alive, to be in a safe place. And the only country he could go to at the time was willing to provide the security, but did not want him to speak. So he could not speak. He absolutely had to respect that. It was a commitment he took. But that same government and others got to work, African governments, who are totally unhappy with the situation in Cameroon. They got to work to find a decent place and a safe place for Mr. Tchiroma, where he is now. And as soon as he got there, he made the speech he made last night. And so he will increasingly, he obviously does not want to create problems for that new leader, the leader where he is now, but he obviously will, once we unleash this policy, the new policy, he'll have to, be more present and play that leadership role more effectively than he has been able to, given the circumstances of his protection where he is. So we will be seeing more of him in the coming days and weeks.
Gara, you hear the story. It's not very different from the story that I narrated earlier in the show, right?
Right.
Where he got moved to a country which I'm assuming is Nigeria. I could bet my life on that. Assuming he moved, first of all, went to Nigeria, and they gave him they call it a gag order. You are going to come and stay here, but you're not going to say anything that will cause trouble in the neighboring country. And of course, that is not what he wanted. And again, the relationship between the Nigerian government and the Cameroonian government is pretty tight. So now
very strong.
It was just a matter of time before they got to him, right? So what did he do? He had to move to another part of Africa, which I'm assuming is Chad. Because when I look at, they say a new president or a new government, when I look around, there's no real new government except the government that got into office in charge through a coup d'etat. That would be the only government that might be take offense to what is happening in Cameroon, right? It cannot be Ghana. I don't think it's Ghana. I don't think it's Ivory Coast. They have their own issues. I don't believe it's any of those countries. So my wild guess, Chad. So you see, we'll talking about readiness. You get moved from one place to another like a child for your protection. Again, that is just something that I wanted to point out. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, Eric Chinje did use the word "we" many times. I can
No,
see where you
he's
get.
part of that. No, he is part of that.
Right.
Clearly part of the movement and the management and the organ. Again, like I said, he speaks with a lot of authority.
Right.
It comes across as though he's speaking on behalf of, or he has authority from Tchiroma. And that's why he's saying that eventually he will need to come out and be a lot more present.
Right.
Because he is speaking on behalf of Tchiroma at this time.
I mean, we are nobodies. Nah, we're not in the place to give advice to anybody. Not to Eric Chinje, not to Tchiroma. Tchiroma knows a lot more than what Eric Chinje is talking about that he knows. But if I were to put in my 2 cents here, Tchiroma, just look at where the Amazonian situation is. These people do not love you. They are just using you. So if that's any advice I could give, because there are how many thousand presidents, the factions everywhere, everyone wants to go, they're all fighting for power. Okay, these people do not love you. And then everything he did say the African leaders will support him. Like, people are still using this crap in 2025. The African leaders will support him. Like, who really cares about you that much? Nigeria has its own issues. Chad has its own issues. Central Africa has its own issues. Cameroon has its own issues. Like, who has that extra patience and time and resources and money to be able to commit to someone who claims that he won an election and is running and escaping from one country to another, if that's the case? Like, people have their own things to worry about. People have their own trouble. They're going through their own processes. They're going to Mali is just going through its own jihad with fighting with terrorists and whatever. Nigeria is under their own stuff. Trump say he's coming, and they're Boko Haram. Cameroon is dealing with Boko Haram and Amba and whatever. Like, which African leader has the time, the extra time, and then to be worrying about you, my friend? Like, come on now. These are people who are just getting a false sense of community, a false sense of security, just to keep, again, like I said earlier, just to keep this crazy idea on life support. Because without the energy and oxygen that's been provided by people like Eric Chinje, he will be dead.
He will be dead.
Arrival.
Yeah.
On arrival. So these people are just riding a dead horse. They're just riding this cart till the wheels fall off. And they don't care. He has his house in the United States. He doesn't really care if Cameroon goes in flames. They think they're going to come and take ministerial position. And more importantly, they think that the people on the ground whose life will be really affected by this do not have the ability to be able to reason for themselves and make the right decisions. They think that you who after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and think like this is not really serving me. I better go back to my job. I better go and ride my Okada. I better send my children to school. I better find a way to feed my family. They think that you are dumb. They think that you are making the wrong decision by doing all these things because you are not there, like he said, to be counted. Okay? You are not there, like he said, to act as a human shield. So, no, these people are really looking down on you because they don't think you have the mental capacity, the mental fortitude to be able to fight for them and sacrifice for them and give your life for them, give your time for them. They don't even value your life that much. Okay, and yeah, I mean, not to say I'm so mad with people like this who come on the moral high ground, on the high horse, and give lectures to people who are struggling to have their daily meal on how to fight for them to come at the end of the day and seek political positions and opportunities and promote their organizations. It's sad. It's really sad.
I would say that he's in a more secure place somewhere in Africa, which includes Cameroon. I don't, I mean, I don't want to give the folks in Yaoundé reason to maybe to destroy a certain part of the country because they're looking for Tchiroma. Yes, I can tell you what I know. I was with Mr. Tchiroma a few days ago when somebody I know who's in the high levels of the government of that country came to me and said they want to arrange a discussion between the president of that country, the head of state of France, Emmanuel Macron, and Tchiroma. Told me this and said I should convince Tchiroma to call, to agree to that meeting, and that they believe they'll make him an offer of vice president. That was said to me. It wasn't said to anybody else. So this is, I'm giving you first-hand information.
And this was a proposal coming from somebody representing the French, correct?
Well, it was coming from a senior official in that country where we were.
Okay.
And said, the senior top official, who has works with the president of that country, said they will, if I could convince Tchiroma to agree to the meeting with the president of that country and Emmanuel Macron, they think he will be offered, not they think, we will offer him, he said, the position of vice president. And he told me, look, Eric, Mr. Biya will be gone soon. He said, I don't think he'll be there for 2 or 3 more years. So, as vice president, Tchiroma will very quickly, get to the presidency with no obstacles. And that Mr. Macron and this president, if they can agree to it, they will agree to it. So I know that that offer has been made. But of course, raised it with Mr. Tchiroma, and it was a no-no. I mean, there was no thought of even engaging in such a process.
Ghana, why are you shaking? Why are you so disappointed?
Okay, wait, just listen just try to place yourself as a neutral person. Does that sound convincing to you?
No, it doesn't.
Do you think Eric Chinje sounds convincing? Does it sound like someone who even knows what he's talking about?
No.
Come on now. Come on. Like, people look up to these people and they think they have some sway in whatever is happening. Come on, Eric Chinje. All what he said is just BS. I can guarantee you that he has no idea. He is making all that stuff up.
Making it up as he goes. That's why
he just sounds like to arrange. He has to think about it and say, like, he's lying. Are we talking about the same Macron who has acknowledged Biya's presidency? Which Macron are we talking about? And then you talk about the senior official. You're trying to make something look mysterious than it really is. like Eric Chinje is lying, and he knows he's lying. And if anybody sits there and listen to this BS from him and think that he has any iota of truth, then I'm sorry. I don't know. He just seems to be making up stuff as it goes.